leave, so that's good. But it's like, and then it just shifts everything from like my book and doing this stuff straight back into that. So it's, I don't know, it's a crazy time at the moment. Hey, it's like, it's really hard to, I guess, I don't know, like find the balance, you know, it's hard to find that balance between like doing the work, doing the book, keeping the family happy. It's full on. You get there, you work it out.
No, it's like exactly. It's like you're passionate, and you always find time for the passion. And
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
obviously, I know personally about what you've actually done, the work that's went on behind the scenes by,
yeah,
by making this book. A lot of people will not know, but the reason
yeah,
we're having that is to talk about the book.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
So, the power of the FU work ethic.
Yeah, that's it. You can see the banner in the background there and the book here.
Yeah. So I'll tell a little bit about how I found the book because I've obviously we've had chats. I believe everything happens for a reason, and the right thing finds you at the right time, and all that kind of stuff. And I just follow that. A couple of years back, and I was just so confused in life. I was just realised that the way I was living life was just all wrong. The way I'd learned life was all wrong.
Yeah,
Things really needed to change. I experienced severe burnout a few times and realised that, the position I was in wasn't great. And if I wanted to really move forward in my life, I had to start, changing my ways. Set up a little page called Serenity Health. It's all about kind of positivity and views and, started to tap into kind of more that side of life and try to find a bit of purpose, and try to find out who it really was.
Yeah.
And along that journey, obviously, we connected on Instagram, we got chatting, I come across you, and there was something that, there was loads of things that were happening at that time. I was really pulled towards it and I was just following it. There was a coach that I had, Barry Craig, who I do this show with, and he was doing stuff as well that I knew that I just had to just go and reach out to that person, and the journey that I've been on with him and how he's helped me has been amazing. And again, all Simon King and stuff, but this book and yourself was definitely on that specific channel path, and I couldn't actually at the time get the book. I could barely afford it because my life was a mess. We were having chats, and what I remember was just how open you were, how down to earth you were. And then as we began to chat, we started to realise how much we're in common. Age gap, kids, same ages.
Family. Yeah.
It was crazy, absolutely crazy. The book was amazing, mate. I really loved the book.
Thank you.
I'd love you to tell us about the book, how you became writing the book, and the whole process of writing it and the challenges. The floor is yours, my man. The floor is yours.
Yeah. Thank you. And first of all, thank you so much for having me on tonight here, midday for you. And putting yourself out there. Like, I know how vulnerable for myself I've had to, and we'll talk about it too, during the process of writing and learning and understanding and finding out how to turn it into this. Like that, for me, I had no idea how to even turn it into a book. I didn't even know I was writing a book at the start. We'll get into that as well. So putting yourself out there and to someone on the other side of the world, like, well done, mate. Like that's it takes effort, it takes courage, and it definitely takes mindset as well. And I guess mindset's something that I want to talk about at some point during this interview today as well. How the book came about was, and we we're just talking about this, I guess, before the discussion started, but I do a lot of travel for work, and I was in and out of airports, and I was a bit bored, and I was just like, I don't want to sit here and watch movies on the plane and this and that. And I don't know, I just pulled my laptop out one day, I had it with me for work, and I just started writing. And it was almost like it needed to happen. Like I've never, a bit of a background, I've never done blogging, I've never done websiting, I've never done poems. I've never done any form of writing. I failed school and English. So it's not like it's something like, or my parents or my family, there's no background history there. So yeah, I started writing in 2016. I'd got to about, I'm going to say about 10,000 words, and thought, okay, this isn't like, it's not a short story. I can't really release it as a blog and then expect people to read 10,000 words. It's a fair bit. So I jumped it up to about, I'm going to say between 15 and 20,000 words. And then I shared it with someone that's pretty close to me. And just said, hey, like, you know, a little bit about me. What do you think? And then from there, it went to like another 2 people, and obviously my wife as well. And they were just like, they were shocked, like shocked in a good way, you know, like it was something that everyone didn't expect from me, but then it was something that they were like, wow, like what you have written is so raw and so relatable, and it's not like mixed content. It's not like using words that you don't understand, things like that. It's just raw, basic, and to the point. And they're like, you've got to keep going because so many people are going to need to read this because it's going to resonate with so many people. And hearing that was like just a huge shock to my system. You know, like I don't really show it much, but I'm such a vulnerable person myself. Like I love doing things like this, and I love speaking and doing that type of thing. But to, I guess, share my personal story with people, like my parents didn't even know the stuff that I wrote about. My parents didn't know about. We're such an open family, but it was like, you know, it's just stuff that you don't really want to put onto other people. You don't want to become a burden. So, yeah, I'm such a vulnerable person in that way. I never want to, I guess, put my woes or worries or mishaps onto other people because I don't want to bring them down. So I always just, you know, like other people do, I just soldier on and I'll work it out myself. So getting to that point where I was like, wow, like now I'm turning this into fixing other people and helping other people and showing other people that you can do something. The motivation that gave me was insane. Like it was next level. Like having those few people give me that push is the reason why this book is here today. If I didn't show it to those like people, or if I showed it to other people and they're like, oh, like, yeah, it's good. And you know, like it's all right. That probably would have been it. But the people that I showed it to were just like, you got to do it. You got to keep writing. You got to keep going. And that was 2016, and the book didn't come out till 2018. So it was a pretty big effort, you know, like to keep going. I wrote for, I think it was like 300 and something, 400. I got it written down somewhere. I should get it out, but it's some ridiculous number of days, like 300 or 400 days straight. Wow. Just every day I'd write. I'd write in the morning, I'd write at night, I'd fall asleep on my laptop, and everywhere I went. So my wife and I traveled through Europe and London, and with her brother. And at that point in time, like obviously my wife knew what I was doing, but no one knew. Like I didn't tell my parents or any family member until I had my first rough copy back from the editors. And so we're doing this whole travel trip through Amsterdam and Rome and Paris and everywhere. And every minute I could, I'm on my laptop. And I'll never forget, my brother-in-law was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, you know, I'm just going to work. And he goes, you're on the other side of the world. Why are you working? I was like, oh, just a few things that need to be done. But it was always writing. Yeah, so it's just every spare moment I could get, I'd just write a little bit, you know, just write a little bit here, write a little bit there. And then yeah, it's turned into a book. So I guess that's like how it started, I guess. Yeah.
I remember you said before, like, it was like something came over you. It was like you were almost channeling something.
Yeah, 100% something.
It's so funny that you say that, because I think when I was reading the book and then speaking to you, it was like you're over the other side of the world. Yeah, we had experienced a lot of the same problems, especially through school, you know, concentrating at school and really trying to understand the way that things were being taught to me, and my head was just mush. I couldn't grasp it. I didn't feel like I was a stupid individual. I felt like I was quite switched on, but that kind of process really like destroyed my confidence and like the sense of like stepping out into the world after and realising that I've more or less failed school. Like general foundation marks wasn't great to leave school with, and leaving at 15, and then obviously following in the footsteps of my kind of granddad and my dad by just getting a trade. You know, my uncle were all into the trade, and I was maybe just that was always probably going to be the route for me. I never really ever had the chance to think go to university or what other kind of route are you going to go, like computers or anything like that, because I just didn't have the focus and I couldn't understand why. Your book, obviously you got given lots of confidence when you're writing this book to help get the book out, which is amazing. Like, and I'm so glad that those people done that, because what the book really done for me was build up a confidence in me again that I knew was there, that I'd actually forgotten, you know? And it really made me feel like, you know, this guy has been through everything I've been through, and you know, we've connected online, we're, you know, going through similar challenges and parenting and, you know, balancing work and life and creative projects and all that kind of stuff. When I was really reading the book and sitting down and being at calm, because I was realising that busy wasn't working.
Yes.
And calm, go back to the drawing board, and this book really allowed me to do that. You know, so thank you, mate. Thank you for really sticking with your guns, seeing it through, because the book it's played a part in changing my life, mate. Really, it really has.
Thank you. No, it kind of leaves me speechless when people say that, and I really appreciate what you're saying. It's like, that's my one goal. I always said, like, I don't want to make money off of the book. If I could literally give this book, channel people that needed the book and just give it to them, I would. Like, for me, success out of this book is helping people. And I don't think you can help people by making them spend a lot of money, you know what I mean? So, like, I've done the book as cheap as I possibly can to literally pay the debt back of the book. And that's it, man. So I'm so grateful. Like, I really appreciate you saying that, and that I can be a part of your life in that way. Like, that's insane. It's insane to think. It gives me goosebumps to think that I'm, you know what I mean? Like, someone like yourself, like we're so similar, like someone that's failed school. And there's so many entrepreneurs and business people and really high profile, successful people that we could talk for hours on end about who didn't go to school. So it's not always, you know, like failing at school like that. For me, that just created an abundance of, I guess, problems within my mind. But it's you know, like, I'm just the average person. Like, I'm an average guy in a unit in Australia. Like, I don't live in a massive mansion. I don't drive a Rolls Royce. I don't have a jet. Like, I'm just the average person. And to think that from putting my heart and soul into something, like, I've been able to change someone's life, like, it's unreal.
You know, think of the ripple effect it's had, because the process that I've been through to where I was to where I am now, you know, I was creating a lot of negative patterns, whereas I really feel like I've come through something now, and I feel like I'm getting to give back. Before, I was trying to do personal development and it wasn't working because I hadn't done inner work. You know, I hadn't been through that full process, full circle type thing.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of mistakes, and then learning from them and realising, you know, as you go, you know. But I know for a fact that you've had other people also reach out, and the lives that it's going to change. Now, for you, the book, you don't want it to go far, but you know, that book is going to stand the test of time. It's going to reach somebody at some time down the line in 10 years. It's something that you've achieved. You're always going to come back to it at some point.
Exactly.
You know? That's incredible. It's like knowing that you're whatever you're doing, and you're like a down to earth person, and you don't see yourself like that, but you have actually created something like that. It's out there and it's helping people.
Yeah, it's massive, and I guess, like, me being in Australia, yourself being in Scotland, and then, like, I still speak with people that are in New York. I speak with people that are in Israel, and these people, like yourself, like I've connected with them through social media, and not all of them have said, like, amazing life-changing things, but all of them have taken a little piece of the book and said, wow, like I read that and I reread it and I read it again and I put it in front of me, and it's really made me think differently. And to have that effect on people throughout the world, again, coming back to me just being the average Australian or the average human, like it's crazy to think, you know, it's so humbling to think that there's so many people out there that I've actually impacted, and I guess people are talking about me all over the world. Like it's unreal. It's just so, yeah, so random to think that, you know, like it's great. And as you said, it is something that I'll have forever. It'll be past, it's a legacy. Like it'll be past me. The book's always going to be there, regardless if I'm here or not, regardless if I'm passionate about it or if I've moved on to something else. That book and that part of my life will always be there. So it's a good feeling. It's and I guess with you talking about it, I guess it's making me kind of realize it a little bit more as well. You know, it's like I'm surrounded by it. I lived it, I wrote it, and I see the book every single day of my life. So to I guess sit down and talk to you about it, you're making me realize what I've achieved as well. So I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Not at all, not at all. It's funny as well because I always look at, you know, generations of life. I always look at, you know, great grandfathers, grandfathers, fathers, process,
yes.
you know, cycles and how things were done and how things were achieved. And I always think that, you know, when you achieve, like you've achieved this book, you know, you think your kid or your can, if you have more children, like they're going to look and see that you achieved it. So you've now created a belief in them that they can achieve that. You know, that there's no limits to things. I think that's so important moving forward. Like making sure that you're putting out the right messages, but you're also giving people the belief to go and do. We live in a world now where you can literally achieve whatever you want. It's quite clear. You find the right thing you want to do. Find that thing that inside you, your burning desire. If you can't find it, keep searching for it until you find it. You know, but always believing that you're going to do it, and then once you do it, just go all in. You know, go for it.
Yeah.
The right people will come. The right people will always, I feel, will
100%. 100%.
No.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more on that. Like it's like you know, people always talk about manifesting. So you manifest what you want and you believe in it, and you will speak with some people and they'll be like, oh, that's a bit odd. Like, do you really think that'll work? And I don't know, like I feel a bit weird. And you know, I've been through different stages in my life of manifesting, and once, and I guess I shouldn't say once, like multiple times, I've manifested and channeled different things, to be honest, because I didn't believe that it worked. So I would manifest things and I'd think about it and I'd drive hard for it to make it happen, because I was like, no, it's like you can't just stick a photo of that on the wall and look at it and it's going to happen. Like you still have to put the work in. Yeah. But 100%, like manifesting is so important, and it's so true. If you want something and you're grinding and you're working hard, but you're not in that correct mind frame, you're just going backwards. You're not putting yourself in that position. You're not putting yourself out there. You're not surrounding yourself in the environment that you need to be in. You're just working for something that's in the foreseeable future that you haven't got the correct mindset for. Does that make sense?
Yeah. A lot of the stuff that I'm learning just now is all about paradigms and stuff. So manifesting stuff, but you know, you might not be ready for it at that time. But it gives you a glimpse of realizing that you can do it. You know, you start focusing. As where focus goes, energy flows. You focus on something, and you start taking actions towards it, and you start to bring it all together. You know, the universe starts, you know, getting out of the way and wants to make it happen for you. It wants to pull it together for you. And when you really get into that state, you see the magic, believe it, and it starts to come true. It can scare people. It scared me things before. That's why my coach Simon King is a motivational speaker. He's a life coach, and you know, he's a personal development coach, and he's been through a lot of processes. Like we have, a bit like yourself, have so much in common. You know, he was writing out Serenity Health every day. Something about Serenity Health. I built a page called Serenity Health, and got connected. Yeah. Lived along the road from, like the street from me. We both had kids sit similar ages, but he's just like a little bit older. Been for what is grew up in the same neighbourhoods and stuff.
Wow.
Helped me get by so many things like triggers and just points, and he understands when I'm going through a shift, and then he realizes what I need. It's like, you put yourself in the environment, the right people will come.
Yeah.
Trust in people is you need to let go. You need to let go of your ego. You need to let go of your old self.
For sure.
Really step in. And I'll still get knocked off, like doing shows like this and then posting them online and speaking to people, and you just feel like things are happening and thinking, and all of a sudden realization like, oh, like, whoa, what's happening?
Yeah.
You know, but when you're in that right place, building people up, you know, and you keep progressing, life is so. You do genuinely believe, I think, that you can help people achieve anything. You know,
totally.
When you come through the process, like you're helping people give back, you're helping people with this book. But after this book, like what do you see yourself doing? Like what is it that's going to come off the back? Is you going to write another book, or are you going to, you know, what's on the agenda?
On the agenda, once I work out how to create more time, it's achievable creating more time. You just got to have the correct mindset. Is more, I guess, doing more of this, connecting with people, doing interviews, doing podcasts. I want to do more public speaking. So, you know, hosting events or being on other people's events, talking to people about achieving success. And I guess success is a big thing as well, and that's something that we can talk on a little bit later, but just quickly, like success, it doesn't have to be money. Success doesn't have to be flash cars. Success doesn't have to be private jets. Success is what, like your own measure. Everyone's different. Like what my success is, like what I want my personal success to be is going to be totally different to what you want your personal success to be, and the next person and that person. So yeah, sorry, that's just taking me on a tangent, but just quickly, like personal success just needs to be measured on what you want to get out of it. You know what I mean? Like, so my personal success for my book is that I've written a book. Like that's, to me, that's insane success. Just straight away, you know, like that's crazy. And then I've managed to connect with people like yourself. I've been the best-selling author on Amazon. I've connected people all over the world. I've, strangely enough, had more success internationally than within Australia or within my book, and that's just crazy to think of. The other thing that I really want to get into, and it's funny that you were talking before about like manifesting and times of your life, and something that always comes back to me, and we're going to go a little off trail here, but it's still relevant to the question.
Let's just keep
it is so something that I've always come back to is not just like, I guess, I always draw to people that are less fortunate than me. It's just one of those things, you know. It's within the universe. I don't know how it works, but say like people that are homeless and mistreated youths and things like that. I don't know. I'm just attached or attracted. Maybe I'm not sure what the word is, but I really want to get into like youth systems, youth groups, schools, things like that. And I know it'd be a bit ironic, like presenting my book to a school, but I really do think if I can find a school that will allow me to do that, that it can help, like it can really help kids learn that regardless of whether they're going to be successful at school or not, that they still can achieve. Because that was a huge, similar to yourself, that was a huge, like, almost stop to my life for probably a decade leaving school.
Yeah.
I felt that I couldn't do anything. And potentially I learned a lot, obviously. You learn even when you're failing and you think that you're not getting anywhere, you're still learning. But that was almost like a whole paused decade of my life, or like failed decade, where I could have been doing something because I would have had a different mindset, thinking, wow, like school is really, really good for people. I'm not tarnishing the school system. Like I'm not going to get up on stage and go, oh, like, I don't think you should be here. Go do something else. Like people still need to go through school, but they need to understand that if they leave with a fail, it doesn't matter. Like you're going to find something. You're going to get to a point in your life where you've got a crossroad and you go, okay, I go this way, I go this way. So really like that's where I want to be. And And it's funny, like I've seen this vision, not the book at all. I never saw the book, but the vision of being on stage, the vision of helping like people in the mistreated youth system, schools, homelessness. There's something there. Like it's building. It's been creating for the past 10 years. I reckon. Like it's interesting that you said that because I've been manifesting it, but I'm not at that point in my life just yet where I need to be doing that. But that's the end goal. It's more just helping people. I just want to give back. I just want people to realize that if they've got a dream, if they've got a goal, if they've got a vision, you got to work your ass off, but you'll get it.
About light working. About light working. Like,
yeah,
aren't really, the people that need somebody to come in at a time and really help them. But I think like stopping people go through that period that we maybe had to go through to then have the realizations, you could literally come in at the end of school and being like, right, who's failed? Let's have some sort of setup here to find what direction you want to go in and let you know that you might have not passed these grades, but let's focus on the things you are good at, i.e. it might be 3 or 4 subjects in that phase of class, assessing, and then start putting them into the right areas where they're going to feel that confidence into them. Because I know so many people, and I grew up in, like, I wasn't too rough, but I wasn't the best area.
Yeah.
But a lot of people had given up, and they just became destructive, and you could have fallen into that trap so easily. I mean, I was really lucky I had football to keep me kind of focused, staying in Fridays, staying through the week, and that gave me a focus to kind of not be on the streets 7 nights a week.
Exactly. Yeah.
When you do come to that crossroads and you do feel like you've failed, you're probably not going to think much of yourself, and you're going to take that wrong option. You're going to keep taking the wrong option, and it's so hard to get back out of that. So that's exactly what you're saying, mate. It's like amazing, mate. That's something like that, mate.
Yeah, that's it, and thank you. Like, and that's like perfectly said on what you touched on there. By like work out people's, I guess, strengths. Strengths and weaknesses, and build on your weaknesses and use your strengths. Yeah. And I guess it'd be something where like it might be a 5-year process. You meet up with the person, you mentor them, you motivate them, you get them into a job, then you check in with them 3 years later. How you going? Oh, that was terrible. I've been in this, and just really like almost not babying, but like cradling people in a way. You know what I mean? Like just being that support that I felt that I never had. Like obviously you've got friends, and like I'm fortunate enough to have loving friends and loving family and parents and everything. So I'm so grateful for that. But that as a youth, that as a teenager that doesn't really understand direction at that point in my life, I would have never gone to my parents and said, hey, like, I don't feel right. I don't know what it is. I don't want medication. I just don't know what's going on. Like, they're dealing with their own shit, So it's like you need to be that person. You don't want to be these people's friends, but you don't want to be their enemy. You just need to have that like strong mindset where you can coach them and guide them and say like, that's going to be a terrible idea, but maybe you do need to do it. Go for 6 months and let it out, and I'll see you then. Like something like that. That's definitely on the cards.
Sounds good. I think as well, it's funny because I remember my dad saying to me when I was younger that girls they seem to pick things up a lot quicker than boys. And I remember when I was in secondary, and me and most of my mates, the school time was just too much of a carry on and all that.
Yeah.
Hard to control that. And I always remember my dad saying that boys between the age of like 11 and 15 should be just running up the mountains doing like army training and that. Just
totally.
Energy, man. And then after that, we should then get 16 to like 20, 21, 22 should go to school and then actually learning to do.
I couldn't agree more. It's so true. Like you don't. It's like girls, females, women. They do that. They're 100% their pinnacle above the male in terms of learning. I couldn't agree more, and it's so true. Like we have energy, testosterone, all this stuff going through us that you should be running up and down. You should go to boot camp for 3 or 4 years, that you'd come out a better person and you'd save that gap of your life where you come out of school not knowing what you're doing, not punctual, not motivated. Like there's so many things that you come out lacking, where if you went down that route, down that path, you would come out and you'd be respectable, you'd be punctual, you'd be educated with life, which would be so much more beneficial than sitting in a classroom listening to someone that you really couldn't care about.
Yeah.
I totally get it. For sure.
Does that fall into the category of like, I know back in the day, like, I don't know if our parents, maybe our grand, they got like national service.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
National service. Would that kind of be maybe where we've kind of fallen off track a little bit then, where, you know, because our parents were very much on time, they were very punctual, like, you know.
So punctual.
The way that life was before seemed, I know that there's so many systems and things that are coming into place now, and we're all adapting to the new world. Going back to basics is just,
yeah.
You know,
it's so true. Like going back to basics, I speak with a lot of different people, I guess, in my career, and just, you know, as you get older, you start to connect with different people, and in Australia, I don't know if it's similar in other parts of the world, but getting, say, a 16 to 22-year-old in today's world to put in a hard day's work is like 1 in 1,000. You know what I mean? Like, whereas our parents and our grandparents, if they didn't work, they got the boot by their parents. There wasn't a roof over their head. They didn't have their car, the fuel. Like, there's just so much where now kids put their hand out to their parents and say, pay for my phone, pay for my Netflix, pay for my car, pay for this. There's that lacking gap there that I don't know. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tarnish parents and say that they're not doing the correct job, because I'm not there yet. You know, I've got as you know, like I've got an 18 or 19-month-old. I'm not at that parent level yet where I can't judge on what's happened. And it's not like it's just 5 kids, you know, it's like the whole generation is just missing something. There's respect problems, there's lack of work ethic, there's I don't know, there's so much opportunity.
Yeah, it's funny, man. You know, we get the blame for this, millennials, eh? We get the blame.
Yeah, yeah, we do. I know, and it's not us.
we're the one. But see, this is the millennials thing for me, is like, we've seen both sides of the world.
Both sides, yes.
The old world and all the kind of morals that was there, and how the structure was in place, and then internet came in and just fucked it all up, didn't it?
Oh,
and then
just destroyed it.
through this process, and we're like the guinea pigs of testing out the internet and taking all these social media platforms, and you know what older people must think of that this life, you know, must be alien to them.
Oh, yeah.
We're like the translators into like the new world as such.
Yeah. I'm sure I talk about that in my book as well. About just how like and I see it a lot. I guess working in retail, we employ a lot of like in my career, so we employ a lot of young people. You know, keep wages down and things like that. And young people these days, one, they don't know how to shake your hand. 2, you say hello to them and they go white as a ghost. and 3, their best form of communication is through a text message. Like it's just insane. You know, you go to talk to someone, you say hello to them and they get all scared, and then they'll send you a text message that's 5 pages long because they're comfortable. You know, they're comfortable behind the phone. And as you said, like we've seen both sides. We've grown up with the internet. We've grown up with different like technologies. So we've got like how you and I can talk now, but then like as you know, I definitely know as well, like 15 years ago, probably longer now, this would have never been possible. You and I talking in a different country, or if it was, it would have cost about 10 grand to do the call that we're doing now. Like it's so there's definitely positives and negatives to come out of it, but I think there's also just a massive lack of education, where I think just the world evolved so quickly. As soon as the internet came about, the world just accelerated so quickly, and then those things like teaching kids respect and teaching kids punctuality and work ethic unfortunately got left behind because people these days and kids and teenagers and young adults can sit behind a computer and build software or build an application, or they don't need that type of like hard work ethic where they've got a boss chucking bricks at them or something. It's
genius. They can just pick it up, go write code and stuff. Like, to me, like that's a massive skill, and different ways to earn. You know, it's the how work harder and smarter and all these different phrases. But you know, it's funny that we are going to have to move into this new phase of life, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, it's inevitable.
It's taking the right approaches and doing things the right way and making sure that, you know, I speak to my son, he's talking about starting his own YouTube channel, and obviously because he sees me doing stuff online and he's Fortnite and, you know, gaming, and I'm saying to him, I'm trying to keep his feet on the ground, you know, I'm trying to keep old school morals, but can also understand that I need to be adapting to the way his life's going to become, because
exactly,
he talks about all the time that computers is us now, you know, it's whether we like it or not, especially in the world we live in, maybe not in other cultures, but the world we live in, phones are now our left hand, you know, and that's going to be our kids' life. So you could take the computer away from them and think that you're doing them a favour, but really they actually might be falling further behind again.
Falling behind,
our ways of teaching them has to kind of change with the time.
You got to be adaptable, which would be really hard to take on. It'd be really hard. I'm not looking forward to that part of parenthood at all.
It's just something fun that really just realised that we're going to make so many mistakes. And us how to text and via, you know.
Yeah.
I talk about the cloud, and I still don't understand the cloud, eh?
Oh no, I don't get into it. I don't understand it at all.
I had a little Nokia. I think my first phone was a BT Cellnet, and I had an aerial coming out the top. You know, now we've got smartphones with screens and, you know, iPads, computer mainframes, and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I don't know what the future holds, mate. I don't know.
It's a scary thought. It's definitely a scary thought.
But I think just coaching them and trying to bring these things in the right way, I think, is probably the only
everything in moderation. I'm always taught that everything in moderation.
Yeah,
it's a bit of everything. Yeah.
Exactly. So, future coming up, just like still going to be working in retail and obviously talking about the book and stuff. Like anything else, any family stuff coming up, and
just learning how to be a parent. You know, like it's an on the job training. It's always it's a learning curve, I guess. Like I'm no different to anybody. I always say that everyone has their own shit going on, and you know, like it's just learning the best method for our family and our household. So for my wife, my son, who's 2 in August, and then for myself, you know, like we're grateful at the moment that my wife's not working, so she's at home all day. But then that also brings the challenges that come with parenthood. You know what I mean? Like I always say to my wife, I would rather go work a 14-hour day. I shouldn't say I would rather. It's easier to do a 14, 10, 12, 14-hour day than be at home with a child, because, you know, they're like, if you look after yourself, let's face it, then you've got a child. And for us, we've been blessed with a kid that doesn't really enjoy TV. So he might watch TV in a whole day. He might watch TV for half an hour. It'd be a push. Half an hour he'd watch TV for, and you know, he's always up and he's moving and he's doing things and he's running outside and he's always just on the go. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge day today, but it's just the future just holds being the best parent I can be. That's the focus, And as you would know, um, your life dramatically changes when you become a parent. And your focus as well. Your focus shifts so much. Like my books, my life. You know what I mean? Like that's a part of me. But it's like prior to my son being born, like I was able to invest so much time into my book. I'd stay up till 2 in the morning and write, and I'd be tired the next day, but I could still operate. And I'd go work a 10 or 12 hour day, and then come home and I could have dinner and interact with my wife, and then straight back into the businesses per se. But now you've got the triangle, I guess, that I like to call the triangle balance aspect of I've got my book that I'm passionate about, I've got my career that I'm also passionate about, but then I've got my wife and my kid who always have to come first. You know what I mean? So it's just, I guess, learning and understanding that, and then dealing with mental health. Let's face it. I've written a book about mental health, so I guess it's a good opportunity to touch on that a little bit as well. It's there's a lot that I've overcome, and I write about that as well. But it's also like things like, say, depression and anxiety and panic attacks. Thankfully for me, touch wood, I've learned ways to manage panic attacks. I understand when I'm going to get one, and for me personally, I understand what I need to do to be able to manage that, and I guess suppress it so it doesn't last as long. But like depression and anxiety, you can manage them and you can understand for yourself. But this is what I believe anyway. Like, I'm no expert on it. I don't have any degrees on it or any education, but you can understand it and you can manage it, but you're never going to beat it. That's what I believe. Like, I don't know, like, fitness, going to the beach, getting your own time in, that they're all like control measures that help.
Yeah.
But I don't personally believe that you can wake up one day after having depression on and off for a decade and just wake up and be like, okay, I'm done. I'm not going to be depressed another day in my life. I don't know, personally for me, I don't think it happens. And something that I guess you and I haven't shared or talked about, I guess, publicly or socially, is that I tell you this stuff personally. You know what I mean? Like, I tell you when I'm having a rough time. I tell you when I'm having a bad day, and just really not up to talking to people. Like, I might go 3 or 4 days where I don't even want to leave my bedroom. Like, I just don't want to get up and I don't want to face the world. But then, I've got a wife, I've got a kid, I've got a career. I am a hard worker. I've got a crazy work ethic that is my gift and my curse as well. So it's good because, it gets me to where I want to be, but then it's my curse because I will literally work till I put myself in the hospital, which, if you've read my book, you'll know that's happened too. So it's like I could have this insane streak of, I guess, like depression and dark thoughts and anxiety, but I'll still get up, walk out the door and go to work. So it's like, I don't know if like that's a bonus for me, and I'm not going to sit here and say everyone should do that, but it's like, that's why I'm so passionate about helping people and so passionate about making people understand and realize that even if you do carry those things with you, you don't need to physically sit inside for 4 days. You don't need to physically like knock things back. You work out a way that works for you, and thankfully I've been able to do that. But yeah, it's just, foreseeable future is just learning and evolving with those things, understanding that that's what I carry, understanding that I've never been to a doctor about it. I've never seen a psychiatrist. I haven't gone down those paths, mainly because I know so many people that have, and I don't want to be medicated. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could go get medicated and it could change your brain and things could happen. But then, like, I don't know, like, my wife's not going to see the true person I am. My son's not going to see the true person I am. My friends and family, they're just going to see like a medicated robot. And that doesn't sit right to me. Like, it could, I don't know, like from the outside looking in, from those people looking into me, they could be like, bloody go do it. It's going to bring that, like, I guess, chemical imbalance a little bit flatter. But for me, like, I want to be raw as I can. You know what I mean? I want to be raw. I want to be authentic and just true to people. And that's, I guess, why we're here today, and that's why I'm not going to hide the fact that that's kind of what I deal with every day. So yeah,
Thanks for sharing, mate. That's really opening and kind, mate, honestly. And I think that there's so many other people that are going through, you know, I've been through so much, you've been through so much. And it is okay to talk. People say it's okay to talk, but I think in some environments it's not. People say it's okay to talk, but it's not a safe space in a lot of places for people.
Not at all.
And I think that, you know, something that's really worked for me was, you know, trusting my intuition and trusting following what feels right. And sometimes go against the grain, or sometimes having to leave old kind of environments behind to kind of make sure that you get the kind of stuff that you need. But through that process, what I found something that's really worked for me, and I've done the last kind of video call I've done was with Gary Young, been tapping into a bit of mindfulness, you know, learning how to do meditation and doing it properly, having a kind of structure in the morning where you wake up. And again, this is what a lot of what my coach teaches me is about, you know, waking up and having something, you know, writing out your goals and speaking them out in the morning with pride, and you know, doing a meditation practice and listening to people who motivate you, and starting off the day right, you know, to keep doing that day after day after day. Get a bit of momentum behind you, and then you can kind of step into a new place, other things start to open up. So I've sabotaging myself every time I've got so far, and then sabotage myself, and then I beat myself up about it, have a battle, and then I'll be back to square one again. It was like a vicious circle. I think once I to a lot of what the teachings, especially with Bob Proctor, what he's actually telling you, actually really letting go of my ego and just listening. The ways that I was doing it wasn't working before, so why don't try the way that you know actually works? Do you know what I mean?
I totally understand. Yeah, and that's
it's hard, but you have to just, you know, little bit at a time. I'm talking about little wins, overcoming little things that are annoying you, becoming aware of them, and then making an effort to just chip away at them. And that's progression overnight. Like over 2-3 years, it's massive. So massive.
That's the thing as well. And honestly, the past month, I've been flat. Like, I'm not going to sit here and lie to anyone. I love being authentic, and I'm always buzzed and hyped and motivated to get on calls, and I'll always put in 110% because it's my true passion comes out. Like, even if I'm flat, and I've done it before, and this call isn't an example, but on previous calls and interviews that I've done, I've been sitting there before it, just going, I don't want to do this. I don't really care. I'm over it. And then the call happened, and I'll just be on fire. Like, I was buzzing and so excited, and then I can get off the call and want to go back under the blanket and just, you know, not see anybody. But at the moment, like, I've been super flat. I've been super unmotivated. I've just been not so much down in the dumps, but just really like almost numb, like just no purpose. And what you're touching on then, like talking about structure, that's what it is. It's lacking that structure, you know what I mean? Like, you've got to have that game plan. You've got to have that day to day. I wake up, I do this, I meditate, I write things down. It's so important, because you get in these ruts. And actually, just tonight, while I was preparing to come on this call, I was looking back through my Instagram and back through all my old posts, and I was like, wow, like, I was buzzing when I was doing these posts. I was really engaging with people, and I was so excited. And then you can see the trend in my Instagram where it goes like, you know, life gets busy and things happen. But you can see the trend where I've gone like from this huge buzz, and then it just goes just straight back down. And you know, life happens, and it's good to see. Like, it was really good for me, you know, to see it and to see like kind of what I was doing, and then where I went, and then looking back over the past month, thinking like, I've got so much in my mind that I want to do, so many things I want to achieve, so many people I want to talk to, but I'm sitting there behind my phone just going, what am I doing? You know, like, I had no drive, which is, it's crazy for a motivated person that's wrote a book. Like, it's just showing people that it's life, you know what I mean? Like, it's authentic, it's real, it happens.
You've got to ride the wave, you know. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. Don't don't go too low. Just try and understand and sit where, you know, sometimes your body needs a rest. It's telling you it needs a rest. You know? Opportunities don't go by you. You know, they're always going to be there. I'll come back around, if not this time, the next time. Look at the amount of time you've tried to get this call going. Last time it's not over my time. I was really upset after the last call because I felt that like this call has been gold, but last time it was like just felt that it was the right time. It was all aligned. It didn't happen. You were the one that was for me, you know, it's fine. And I felt like I'd let you down personally, and I took it really to heart. You know?
Yeah, and you know, like,
you were absolutely great about the whole thing, and I think that these things come and go, and like you say, it's just I've always lacked structure. I think I've always wanted to live my own life by my own rules and all that kind of stuff, and realised that I'm not actually getting any further forward living like that, and wasn't actually as happy as I wanted. I just wanted to think that I was free when really I wasn't. And then I started bringing a lot of structure in, you know, I actually started to see a bit of progress, and that's what makes you feel good, you know?
Yeah.
Kids change up the game. They do. And
so much.
As well, but you also want to work on these things, and it's allocating your time in the right ways. I've just lockdown because it's been 6 weeks I had off. For the first month, I just decided to do nothing. All these things that I've been doing in the past, but trying to build, I just decided everybody's in lockdown. Pay everybody the respect they deserve to take some downtime. If I'm not on the line, respect the people who are, and understand the times and try and really adapt. Spend time with family and keep in touch with the people that mean the most to you. And I've done that. And it's so therapeutic. It was so therapeutic.
That would have been so good.
And it was the rest. But after the 4 weeks, I realised, right, this isn't going to be the rest of my life forever. And if I have had enough time to sit down and think about what I want to do moving forward, are you going to start taking action on these things? Or are you going to constantly tell yourself you're going to do it, procrastinate, and not do it? So now it's all taking action, but doing it in the right way, and trying to do it gradual. You know, not try to be like an overnight, you know, get rich quick, like I want money right now and all that. Because it's not about the money, it's about, like you said, success, like abundance in life, abundance in family, and having good people around you, having good health, like you take all these things for granted until they're taken away. We're also focused on the one thing, it's money. And that's the one thing that when you're too focused on, takes you away from all the things around you that can also make you so happy, you know?
Yeah, so true. One big thing as well, you made me realize then when you were talking about process and success and everything, something that I've constantly struggled with through different milestones of my life is post-achievement, or like post-success, I guess you might call it. So I think for me, like, I'm such a process person. I just get so caught up in the process and so into it. And, you know, I grind and I work hard that when I get to the goal and I've achieved it, I'm like, go numb or flat. I'm like, what now? Like, I've released this book, or I've purchased this property, or I've got this car, or this or that. And I do it and it's done. And then I look back and I'm like, oh, like, that's over. Like, what now? You know, like, I expect, it's happened to me a few times, especially with the book. It was a huge thing. Like, and I still kind of pinch myself every day that I've achieved it. But it's like, I was working on it just so hard, just insanely hard. Like, my wife was obviously pregnant through the time, and I missed so many like different milestones with that. And I missed a lot of time with my family and birthday parties and weddings, and because I was just so focused, like nothing could pull me away from it. And then I got to the end and I had the book launch, and I released the book, and I got 500 copies delivered to my house. And then I was like, oh, like, it's done, it's over. It wasn't like, I didn't feel that, like, I was expecting this big euphoric buzz because I'd achieved, because I'd achieved such greatness. But I think for me, like, I get that buzz on the process. It's like watching it all and grinding hard and getting it all falling into place that's almost my success, Getting the end product's just like the bonus at the end of it.
The release of all of that afterwards, and all the sacrifices you made, it wasn't for one big blow up. Oh, what amazing, that's it, and then it all goes away. Loss of energy every single time down the line when somebody reaches out, but somebody reads the book. Somebody reading the book, probably energetically be able to, like, feel it because you wrote those words. You know, your words. If somebody's reading that book, you'll be able to just you'll just get an energy around you. Sometimes you'll just maybe not understand. You know, that could be somebody reading your book and get a positive vibe from it. You know, so many different ways. The universe is just so.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Great, but not about that one moment. It's funny because I remember when I was younger, I think I was turning 18. I was thinking I'm going to be an adult, you know, going to be an adult and stuff. Turning 18, and I woke up on that morning thinking everything was going to be different. I felt exactly.
That's so true, and that's exactly the feeling. Like you nailed it, Descent. Like the exact feeling. Like you wake up, you've waited 18 years of your life to get to that point, and you get there, and you're like, oh, it's just the same as the day before, and it's exactly how I felt. You know what I mean? And the same thing. Like you're almost on a bigger high, say 2 years out, or 18 months out, or a year out, or 6 months out. You're on a bigger high getting to 18. And when you turn 18, you're like, oh, like it's just the same as every other day. And that's the exact feeling. You've nailed it. It's the exact feeling that I had, you know, like I was just so buzzed and on the grind and understanding and learning and growing as a person. And then I got to the end and I'm like, oh, okay, like that's done. What's next? Like I was expecting to be different, but it's true as well what you say. Like people reach out to me every so often and say, I just read your book, or I really enjoyed your book, so I gave it to my brother, or I gave it to my uncle, and they're going through a little bit of a hard time, and I really think it's going to help them. And then that person will reach out to me and say, oh, such and such gave me a book, like I really enjoyed it. And you're right, like the buzz then picks back up, like thanks so much, I really appreciate it. Do you want to talk about it? Like it's so good, and that's what it's all about. It's all about sharing the love of the project, and then just connecting with people, you know, like, and I would also love for someone to just connect with me and say, like, your book's terrible. Why is it terrible? How can I make it better? You know what I mean? Like there's so many positives that come out of that discussion as well. Like, okay, cool. Like that kind of hurt, but where are you going with it? You know, like, why is it terrible? What did it just not make sense? Are you like a educational believer, which is cool if you are, like, you know, like there's so, like, it can go both ways. Like there's so much that you can take out of it after it, but you just, as you said, it's like waves. Like you have those days where you're like, oh, like whatever, I wrote a book, and then you have days where you're like, I wrote a book. Like that's insane. How does that even happen? How does like if someone, it's crazy. Like if someone said to me today, if they just magically erased everything and was like, go write a book, I'd be like, what do you mean? I don't know how to write a book, and I've done it. You know what I mean? I've achieved it. I've been through it all, but it's just like that was that part of my life. It's crazy. Like it's just crazy to think that that's what I've achieved. It's like over 200 pages, 216 pages of words. When some days like I'll struggle to put 3 or 4 words on a page. You know, it's crazy.
And it's funny because I had it and I finished it. And I was speaking to Barry Craig, who I do this show with, and I took it in to see him. I went in to see him. I was like, I've just finished this book. I was like, can you give it a read? We trade some books. He's given me a couple of really good books as well. The Surrender Experiment, amazing book. And so he's like opened up the book, and I think whatever his mind process was at that time, he opened up the book and he's read like a paragraph of the book, and he's just like, whoa, like that's just exactly what I'm kind of going through right now. Like, can I get this? I was like, of course. I was like, take it type thing. I was just like, and then he just read it. I think he read it for like a couple of days. He just blasted it. Yeah, so I read it. So Ken, it was like, he said it was amazing. So it's going to keep happening. It's going to keep happening. But,
it's so humbling, yeah.
We better wrap it up. So, no, listen, mate, I really appreciate you coming on for the call today, mate.
It's been a pleasure.
Managed to get it recorded this time. So I'll fire that up. And good luck in the future, mate. Let's keep in touch.
Definitely. Yeah, we'll reverse the role next time. I reckon we jump back on another call, and I'll ask you a few questions, and it'd be good. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Good luck to you, family back home, mate, and all the best work. Top man. Listen, take care. All right.
You too. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Morning.